Hey everyone, how's it going? It's Russell Matthews here. Now this video is a warning for anybody who applies for their benefits through the CRA. That would be people applying for the CRB, the CRCB, or the CRSB. It seems that as of today, the CRA has locked out 800,000 accounts, and this could make it a lot more difficult to apply for benefits on Monday when this next application period opens. So in this video, we're going to go over why this is all happening in the first place, the history leading up to it, how you can find out if you're somebody whose account has been locked, and if you are, we're going to go over the best way to get your account back up and running so that you won't see any interruption to your applications. But before we get started, make sure to check out the links in the description where you can open up your own investment accounts, and if you haven't already done so, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to keep on supporting Canadian content right here on the YouTube platform. Alright, now let's go take a look at exactly what's happening in the news article that has broke this information to the public. Alright, so this is the headline that just broke. It says that the CRA is to lock over 800,000 taxpayers out of their online accounts tomorrow, saying that the tax agency says some usernames and passwords may have been obtained by unauthorized third parties. Now, this is a little bit daunting and a little bit concerning, but we're going to go over the context of what's actually happening here. Now, this is actually something that happened back in February, but this time, because of the public outcry and frustration because of the way it was handled last time, this time it's being handled a little bit differently, and it is actually giving you a little bit of a heads up and a little bit of advance notice. You see, back in February, hundreds of thousands of Canadians woke up and tried to log into their CRA accounts and found they got the error message saying that this username was no longer associated with their account. Obviously, this is very concerning for so many Canadians because when you see that your email has been taken off of your CRA account, your mind automatically goes to the thought that, oh, maybe somebody's hacked into my account and is getting access to potentially my benefits, my tax information. It's pretty concerning. And this worry wasn't helped by the CRA because they didn't make any sort of statements claiming that this wasn't the case until days later. Now, when they actually came out and said, hey, we know what's going on, they were kind of vague with their answers to what was going on. They basically just said to various news stations that no, we haven't been hacked, but we've had to sort of disassociate people's emails for some unspecified reason. Now, this sort of sketchy response had a lot of people frustrated and a little bit concerned, and it wasn't until days later that they came out with another statement saying that no, the CRA wasn't hacked, and here's what happened. They said that they were actually able to retrieve from various sources combinations of passwords and usernames that have been hacked from other sites that were also the same username and password combinations that were used on the CRA. Now, their messaging has changed since this statement, but originally in many news articles, they were saying that they received this information, these combinations of passwords and usernames from the dark web, a portion of the internet where less than legal things go on, and likely they were able to purchase this information from someone on the dark web so that somebody else wouldn't purchase the information and they could get the information to then disassociate the account so that they weren't at risk of being hacked by a third party who could have potentially bought that information. So to summarize what went on, their position was that they were doing this as a way to protect CRA accounts so that they couldn't be hacked because clearly their credentials had already been exposed in another security breach with another company, and they were probably using the same sign-in and password information that they were using on those other websites. But the biggest problem of all was their lack of communication of this to the various CRA account holders. Now, people were concerned about what was going on with their accounts, and in many cases, people were locked out of their accounts, and they were just told by the CRA that, hey, we're going to mail you information on how you can unlock your account. You don't need to call the CRA, but if you need to apply for benefits anytime soon, you actually do have to call the CRA and sit in 3 to 4 hour lines waiting to get your account restored. Now, in the weeks following all of these events, there was actually a report filed by the person who's supposed to keep the CRA in check, make sure that they're actually following the proper procedures. And in that report, they found that the CRA failed to properly inform the public of what was going on, resulting in mass frustration and in some cases panic that their accounts had been hacked into. So that's why now we're seeing these news articles coming out just as they're doing it instead of announcing it after the fact in order to try to get out ahead of this before a whole round of new people get frustrated by this situation. Let's take a closer look at the news article to see if there's any more information, and then we'll get into how you can find out if your account is one of the ones that the CRA has locked out for these security reasons, and how you can actually get access back to your account before the application date, which is coming up on Monday. So inside of this article, they're essentially saying that what's going going on now is the same as what happened back then, saying that following data breaches, items of personal information such as username and passwords are often made available online through the so-called dark web, a part of the internet that can be accessed only through a special browser. People who use the same email or username and password combination for multiple accounts are at increased risk of being hacked, experts say. So essentially what they're saying is that if you're somebody who uses the same password username combination, it could be more likely that you're one of these people to have their accounts locked out. Now they continue making a very strong point here, saying that the CRA's move comes in the middle of one of the most complicated tax seasons in recent memory, as millions of Canadians prepare to file taxes after receiving COVID-19 benefits. So this is rather inconvenient timing for all of this to be going on, as many people are trying to get access to their accounts both for applying for benefits and for filing their taxes and for receiving those documents, remember the T4A and the T4E forms that they need in order to file their taxes. So how can you find out if you're somebody who's had your account locked out because of this issue? Well, it's pretty simple. Try to log on to your CRA account. If you can get in successfully, then you're probably not someone who's affected by this. But if you try to log in and they say this email is no longer valid, or this email has been disassociated with the account you're trying to access, if you receive a message like that, it's likely that you're somebody who's fallen into this situation. Now, luckily, the CRA is actually providing us with a way to unlock these accounts or to sort of work around this without actually having to sit in these CRA lines on the phone for hours and hours and hours when we're just trying to do a simple task. The first option that they're suggesting here is option 1, and they say use a different login method. If you have one, you may be able to log in using a different CRA user ID and password, your banking login, or through BCID, your BC service card, to access your CRA account. You'll know that when you go to the CRA website to log in, there are those multiple different options. You can use your password and your username, or you can actually log in through a third-party bank, which will actually connect your CRA account to your bank, and it can verify that you are actually who you say you are through that method. So if you've been locked out via the username password method, you may be able to log in through that third-party bank system. And for option 2, they say that you could potentially make a new CRA account in order to access this. Now, if you're making a new CRA account, you will not have access to all of the things that you typically would on your CRA account, but you will have access to the most important things that you could likely be wanting to do right now, filing your taxes or applying for benefits. So in order to make the new CRA account, you can go to that CRA login page and find the spot on the page that says create new account. Now, this won't be attached to your previous account, but because it's going to be attached to your social insurance number, they're going to have the same information there that they had on your previous account, which has now been locked out. Now, many of you may know that the next application for the CRB will be opening up on Monday, so I definitely recommend double checking to make sure that you haven't been locked out and that you can get this access to your account back and reinstated before that application date, so that you can make sure there's no lapse or no interruption in your benefits if you've gotten into the schedule of applying every Monday morning that it's available. And the CRA does say that this could be something that happens more regularly in the future as they try to ensure the security of all CRA accounts. It's going to be inconvenient for all the people who are locked out, but hopefully if you're watching this video, you can remember these steps that can help you get access to your account if this doesn't happen to you this time, but maybe happens in a future time when they do a similar method in order to make sure that they don't get hacked. But I just thought I'd make this quick video to let you know what exactly is going on here, so you're not surprised if you're not able to access your account as of today when they've made these changes. Now, if you haven't already done so, make sure to share this video with somebody else who could be affected. If you found it helpful, it's likely someone else will, and it would be a huge help to the channel if you're able to share these videos with your friends and family. And make sure to check out the links in the description where you can open up investment accounts. I think it's so important these days to think about our future when it comes to wealth and our personal finance. I love talking about that stuff. I make videos like that here on the channel also. So if you haven't already checked out or started making your own investment accounts, check out those links. And with all of that said, thank you so much for watching, everybody. I really hope this video helped you out at least a little bit, and I'll see you next time. This channel is supported by viewers like you. Thanks, channel members.